Welcome back, players. I'm Jack with 36 Cancel, and this is Coco the Weiss Cat. So despite the fact that COVID has pretty much shut down everything, there are still a few things happening in the Weiss world. So while we're still stuck at home, I want to make a short update video to touch on everything that's been going on. First off, Bushiroad hasn't gone silent during this pandemic, not by a long shot. They're still giving us information on upcoming tournaments, or lack thereof, and just today, Bushiroad has released some new dates for upcoming sets, which we'll touch on later, and they've also issued a single-player themed Weiss challenge for all of us stuck at home. I'll show you what that is later in the video, but I also made a full video about it. Check for that link in the description. Speaking of channel content, I have a few channel updates to talk about too, so we'll cover those in the minutes to follow. Don't worry, I'm still not monetized, and I swear to God you'll never hear me say how great Raid Shadow Legends is. And finally, we're still receiving new information for upcoming releases. In fact, another announcement to the English lineup just got made recently, and you can bet we'll be talking about it. So without further ado, let's jump in. First on the agenda is Bushiroad. Let's rewind back to the weekend of the 14th and 15th of March. I just finished up doing a double hitter on some shop challenges and picked up some sweet Priestess coupons. This was right about when Corona was starting to hit the mainstream news and Bushi hadn't made any serious announcements yet. But the evening after the second shop challenge, we did notice that many restaurants around us had already closed, especially the sushi joints, which sucked because that's what we were in the mood for. We ended up going to a Korean barbecue joint with those stove tables where the meat is cooked right in front of you, but we were like the only ones there. It was crazy. I've never seen one of those joints empty like that. Most of the staff was just milling around or on their phones or talking about what they were going to do since the place was going to close that Monday for at least 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Funny to think about that right now, huh? We still received great service though, and the food was awesome. We'll be going back to that LGS and the barbecue place once this is all said and done. But anyway, my point is that things were still relatively normal, but in a way that was the calm before the storm. Then the shutdown hit. And with it, Bushiroad canceled a lot of upcoming regionals, including all the ones I was planning on attending this summer. And back then, we weren't sure how Springfest was going to turn out or if it was even happening at all. Well, on the 18th of April, the nail was finally put in the coffin. Bushiroad announced the full cancellation of Springfest and that no regionals will be held, but this also came with a few rays of hope. First off, if the world opens up, they've given the shops who can hold shop challenges permission to run the tournaments so that the promos can still be given out at their discretion when their areas are no longer on lockdown. Second, they pledged to still redeem all shop challenge coupons even though we don't have any details on how yet. But as of now, that's all the info we have. Right now, there seems to be an attitude that we can start getting back to normal in terms of daily life. Personally, I'm not so sure, but whatever it is, we don't have any regional tournaments until the fall at the very earliest, so whether or not we ever do Team League, which happens to be my favorite tournament type for Weiss, is up in the air. At this point, all we can do is wait. Now, to entertain us a bit while we're stuck at home, Bushi also issued a fun little challenge to players who were sheltering in place. They challenged Weiss players at home to build a deck, shuffle up, and see if they could refresh their deck on turn 1, just playing a normal turn without an opponent. Well, like I said before, I made a full video on this challenge, which I'll post in the description, but here's a clip of me completing this challenge on turn 1 with no starting stock at all. If you want to know how I did it and the thought process that went into it, check out the full video. Honestly, it was a fun little distraction. If Bushi puts out more of these, I'll probably do more video answers. And speaking of videos, now's a great time to talk more about the channel. First off, I want to thank you guys again for helping me hit 1,000 subscribers. And as I make this, I'm actually at 1.1k, and I super appreciate it. I want to take another moment to thank you all so much for your interest in my content, and again, promise that I'll keep it up. And again, I promise never to monetize this channel. Besides, I use way too much copyrighted material to do that. I also don't want anyone influencing my content, since I do this completely for fun and when I feel like it, and I think that's the best way for me to create. But that said, I'm still planning on going bigger and getting better. First, I invested in a new camera. This is a GoPro Hero 8, and it takes much better raw footage than my old camcorder. It's also smaller and lighter, meaning I can record games easier without such a cumbersome setup. This should let me post games that look a lot better and film them a lot easier. I'm super pumped to road test this once we get out there and play again. I mean, look at this side by side. The difference speaks for itself. So anyway, to more channel business, I've been getting a great response from posting all the online games, and how to play Weiss Schwarz online is becoming one of my most popular videos. I'm super glad you guys like this, and if you haven't checked this out and don't know how to play Weiss online, then check the description for that link. Hopefully with the GoPro, I can play some real social distance games too, but I'm still waiting on its mount from Amazon. And finally, in terms of content, Bushiroad is giving me a lot of work to do even though I'm not going out and playing. I'm actually working on 2 set previews right now, and this is a great time to start talking about what's coming down the pipeline. First off, Fujimi Fantasia Bunko now has a new release date. It was initially delayed due to COVID and was supposed to have been released in March. As I was making this video, Bushiroad actually announced that Fujimi Fantasia Bunko would be on sale May 29th, 2020. I already made a set preview for this one, so look for that in the description. But the TLDR of this set is it can generate some very high power on unfair board states with an 8 standby build, packs a solid anti-soul event, and has a pretty good Day-Day Live package too. Now, if all had gone to plan, next Friday we'd probably be seeing Bang Dream Volume 2 hit the shelves, but like Fujimi, Bushiroad has announced a new release date after the original date being delayed for COVID, July 3rd, 2020. This set gives Bang Dream players some sweet new tools for pretty much every band, and also introduced a new band in blue. It's called Reza Solian or something, and its thing seems to be Accelerate. Anyway, the set also gives Afterglow a Sakura-like tap self-search brainstormer that lets you draw and pitch when you trigger a bar, making Afterglow even more annoyingly consistent. It also packs a new Kasumi to put in your pop and party decks that's a brutal finisher. She's a level 3 that with a climax gets plus 4k and pay 1 pitch 1 burn on attack, and then at the encore phase, if your battle opponent is reversed or she doesn't have one, you can pay 1 pitch 1 and burn 3. Good luck surviving that. For Hello Happy World, Misaki got a super techie level 1 that's very notable. First off, it's a level assist on your turn, and you can rest it to stand any one of your characters, which is pretty awesome, but it also has a pay 1 pitch 1 wind ability. So if you ever don't feel like dealing with priestesses, annoying early plays, bodyguards, or anti-soul stuff, you just don't have to. It's a pretty powerful level 1 assister, and while those aren't very common to see in the English meta, I'd play the heck out of this if I played Hello Happy World, or anything Bang Dream for that matter. Yellow is also bringing English its first choice trigger, which was a recent addition for the trigger lineups in Japan. This makes Yellow the only color to have 3 unique triggers, which I talked about a bit in my January update. Of course, I don't know too much about Bang Dream overall to comment on how this will change existing decks, but I do know that it gives you even more ways to build your bands that already have infinite possibilities with the ridiculous amount of Bang Dream sets, and is adding to an already huge card pool. Anyway, next on the release schedule is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and this one is pretty interesting. It was originally supposed to release in June, but I'm guessing that will be delayed since we're not getting Bang Dream until July, but I could be wrong. The set packs an enemy faction deck of Orc Disaster, a red meme deck with Ifrit, big burns, and double losses, but primarily it offers a pretty sweet yellow and blue deck featuring Rimuru and Shizu. It features some really tech level zeros, like a Rimuru that top checks and pitches when he comes in that's also a climax salvager, and an Ellen Brainstorm with a rather unique ability. It's a tap self brainstormer that for each climax, you top check 3 and add any card. Like, what? What is that? And for level 3s, it's got a Shizu that early plays, heals, and has hand encore, a Rimuru that lets you play more copies of itself for 1 stock that also burns 2, and another Shizu that comes in, top checks X where X is characters, and then is a pay 3, burn 5 with no climax finisher. It's a pretty interesting and unique set, and I look forward to experimenting with it. I really want to make a total set preview for it, and I'm working on that as we speak. Now the next thing down the line is the albatross of the summer releases and Bushi's big English title for the season, Adventure Time. This set was originally supposed to release at the end of July, but with Bang Dream releasing at the beginning, it's up in the air as to whether or not this will be the case. Now, obviously, the set isn't in Japan, so we have very few spoilers for it. We do know that the main trait of the set is Ooh, but we don't have too much else. The only things we have at the moment are a level 0 Earl of Lemongrab and a level 0 Jake. However, Bushiroad did show us what the starter set for the product would look like, which includes sleeves and a deck box. Check it out. But we do have a lot more information about the next set lined up for release, which is ReZero Memory Snow. Now, the most notable thing about this set is that it's trade locked, so it doesn't play nice with other ReZero sets, but it's also meme-tastic. This expansion packs some serious hate for popular tools in the current metagame. There's a level 0 Ran that's anti-standby. When your opponent or you puts a character on the stage from the waiting room during the climax or attack phase, all your characters or your opponent's characters gets minus 2,000 times X for the turn, where X is that card's cost. So eat shit, standby. There's another Rem that also stops burn 1 abilities from your opponent for a turn, so shots, Mikasas, and all those other fun things won't work either. And on a more memey note, it has a Gurren Lagann style fusion combo with a 2-1 Rosewall and a level 0 Subaru that become a 3-2 ice statue that heals but can't attack, but also somehow deals damage and generates stock every turn, and it can't even be targeted. It also combos with twin Rem and Ram finishers that do a lot of burning. Real talk, the set's pretty good. It's got uninteractable on-attack plussing combos, it's got techie level 0s, and a very diverse suite of finishers, along with good anti-change and super anti-meta tech. It's scary, for sure. But what's somehow even scarier is Bushiroad's latest announcement. Just a few days ago, it became official that Konosuba, Legend of the Crimson Demon, a new set for Japan, was going to release in English later this same year. Oh boy, because Konosuba needed help, right? Let's talk about the gifts given to this already amazing set. And right off the bat, I want to say that at this time we don't have too many reliable translations, so wording and abilities might not be 100% correct. First off, there's a new level 1 Megumin combo in town. Base 4500, she gets plus 1k on your turn if you're playing the game, and with a gate climax, when she attacks, you can pay 1 and double trigger, and she bounces if she's front attacked. So this is pretty annoying. This combo is 100% non-interactive plussing. The double trigger combo lets you side without penalty, thus ensuring that Megumin lives. This on top of the fact that Twin Drive is already an amazing ability. But you also bring her back on your opponent's turn, just like Aaron, meaning that you can just start every turn with 10 cards in your hand. I hate this card. Let's move on to this new finishing combo, actually. Well, first there's a Union that early plays, heals, and has hand encore. Stupid. But she pairs with this Megumin, and when you play a Climax, you can do some bullshit. Pay 3, rest both the Megumin and the Union who are in your center stage, and put the Climax into your waiting room. If you do, your opponent refreshes after choosing one Climax and leaving it out, then you deal 3 damage to your opponent twice, and then you clock click any characters in front of the ones you rested. Stupid. Honestly, this combo is brutal. It's a lot like the old Megumin, just with a nice new early play, a gate climax, a -1 refresh, and burn 3 instead of burn 4 for extra consistency. I would not be surprised if a lot of players were looking at this as their new top end. To top it off, the set gives us a new level 0 darkness that you can use to climax swap, a pretty interesting 1/1 Cosma event, and a new Aqua that mills the bottom 2 of your opponent's deck and deals 1 damage twice if she doesn't find any climaxes. And finally, the set is bringing another choice trigger to English. All in all, this set is packing heat, and I'll be doing a full set preview on it in the coming months. But that's all the information we have at the moment. This is the most up-to-date info we have on releases, products, and the state of affairs with Springfest. May it rest in peace. But one last thing. Yesterday, Bushiroad made a pre-order announcement for some TCG products featuring Nekopara. These will be available on the 19th of June, 2020. And this isn't the first time Bushiroad has released products related to Nekopara. Is this a sign of things to come? This obviously means that there's already contract work going on between NekoWorks and Bushiroad, and as of yet, Nekopara has no card game adaptation, and it should be pointed out that most shows that do even decently well get some sort of card game media. The interesting thing about Nekopara is how much more popular it is in the West versus Japan, and also China. Now, it should be said immediately that Bushiroad makes plenty of card game supplies like sleeves and playmats for media that isn't in Weiss and likely never will be. Many of these shows and games already have their own stuff going on though, so to me, a Nekopara Weiss set might not be so strange to think about. Also, I'd pre-order a case, and I know I'm not the only one. Just saying, Bushi. So that's about where we'll wrap up for now. What the future holds in the upcoming months for Weiss Schwarz is anyone's guess. But if I had to make mine, I think it'll be a lot of playing online games, pre-ordering sets that will ship in an undefined date, and wishing we could go out and play, but of course knowing better than to put anyone else at risk just for the sake of anime cardboard fun times. This would be an extremely exciting summer for Weiss if not for the COVID situation. It's a damn shame, but we've got to do what we've got to do. Stay safe, stay home, and practice social distancing, and we'll be back in front of our playmats and opponents soon. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.